France are our first finalist, a disciplined performance, very much a reflection perhaps of their coach Didier Deschamps, known as the water carrier, of course. For Belgium and the golden generation, it will be bronze at best. And there is Didier Deschamps celebrating with his players, as he quite rightly should do. Finalists, of course, 2 years ago in the Euros. Didn't happen for them on that particular occasion, losing to Portugal, of course. Not the free-flowing game that we perhaps expected, as France scored, then sat back and defended their lead and hit on the counter-attack. But do those fans care how their team played? No, of course they're not. Roberto Martinez leaves the tournament, but with lots of credit, as do his Belgian side, who played some sparkling football throughout the tournament. But it's France, Alan, that go into the final.
Yeah, very, very tight game, Gary. Some huge performances for France. I mean, Mbappe, the touch, the technique, the intelligence, everything that you want from a forward, the pace, with such maturity, a performance, when to pass, when to run, when to hold on to the ball. But give him a great mention, yes, but some other performances, Varane, Kante, Pogba, Umtiti and Matuidi, they did the ugly side of the game, if you like, when they had to dig in, when they had to defend, when they had to put their bodies on the line and do it right. Those guys were there, and it was a magnificent performance.
Pictures of sheer joy on the faces of the French faces, and you can understand that, Jürgen. You know what that feeling's like, I recall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, France deserve to go through to the final, but huge credit to that Belgium team. The entire tournament, they played brilliant football. Wonderful skill that they have in their team, great players. They gave everything they had. But at the end of the day, it was not enough. I think the last piece of kind of determination, maybe also a strike maybe from a Lukaku in this game, was not there today. And France broke through with a set piece. They made it happen, and they deserve to be in the final.
We always thought it was going to be a tough one to call, and in the end it was just a set piece. Has been so often the case in this tournament.
Yeah, set pieces have decided many a game in this tournament, and the importance was showed here today. But yes, I think Mbappe was great, but also Pogba today he showed today why he went for so much money. He's discipline, which he's been called out for beforehand, seems to have come into play. He seems to there's an understanding about his game and maturity today in his game, not just today, but throughout this tournament. He's grown and grown and grown, and then he emerged out of this game as the midfielder on the pitch this game, and Varane as well. I think he's been fighting for fitness consistently over the last 3 or 4 years, but now this season won the Champions League with Real Madrid, and he was immense tonight.
3 teams left. 3 teams left. That's all. France, Croatia and England. Let's hear from... Roberto Martinez can talk to us, the losing manager from Belgium. Here he is.
Coach, it was a question of details tonight.
It was. I think, unfortunately for us, the difference is just a dead ball situation, a set play. The game was, as you could imagine, very close, very tight, and it was going to be decided into maybe the one that he could find that final touch in the box, or he could get a little bit of look in front of goal. I thought the attitude, the effort of the players was magnificent. Because you couldn't ask any more. You need to be understandable that in football, one team wins and the other one loses. But if you're going to lose in any other way, is the way that our players did it. Giving everything and always until the last second, almost pushing for every single corner to try to get back into the game.
Just a corner who makes the difference.
Yes, and that's the type of detail that you get in a semi-final of the World Cup. But now we need to almost get rid of this disappointment, and we got 1 game left, and we need to make sure that we finish on a real high. These players don't deserve to leave the tournament with a bad feeling or a bad taste.
We have to be proud tonight.
Well, it's
disappointed but proud.
Of course, yeah. Disappointment is the only thing that matters today. Is we wanted to get into the final. The players showed an incredible focus and incredible togetherness, and that when the result is not there, you cannot be any other way than disappointed. We're going to look forward now to the next game, and we need to make sure that we finish the tournament on a real high. These players deserve that. It doesn't deserve any other ending.
Yeah, the dreaded third-place playoff game. Played in one of those. You played in one of 2006?
Yes, I did.
They're
Yeah,
dreadful, aren't they, really? I mean,
yeah, you don't want to play a third-place game.
Yeah, interesting. We talk just one goal, set piece. 69 of the 158 goals scored at this World Cup have come from set pieces. Not far off half. It's quite astounding.
Yeah,
really.
it was just
shows the importance of it.
Yeah, well, they're hugely important. Just a lapse in concentration from Toby Alderweireld. Getting Titi actually just gets away from him there. Look, clever, goes the other side of Witsel, and they can't pick him up. Yes, there's a little bit of luck to it, but you can see there he's with him. He just runs in front of him there, doesn't he? And Toby can't stay with him. Good movement, backwards, forwards. A little bit of luck because it takes a deflection there. He heads it onto Fellaini.
Yeah.
There's so much to set pieces, Gary. The determination of a player. You know, I often, when I talk to players about giving an example of corners or side free kicks, you know, when I took John Terry often. Because John Terry often for me was the player that wanted the ball so badly. Yeah. And Titi in this moment, he wanted the ball so badly. Yeah. And he got it. So that piece of determination is just huge.
Yeah, incredible scenes there. That's in Paris, as you might imagine. Not quite sure it matched Croydon. What do you think, Ray?
No, South London can't be beaten in them. The celebration stakes is not happening.
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow we'll be seeing the Croydon, Newcastle, all around England going bananas like that.
I hope so. I really do. Belgian chances, Alan, were few and far between. France then backed up, defended really well, made it very hard for Belgium.
Once they scored, they just give a great performance and keeping tight and organisation, getting men behind the ball, and it just didn't work out for Belgium. Yes, they got one or two balls into the box, a little bit more direct. Then Fellaini sort of went left-hand side, so they lost that in terms of being direct. But another good save from Luis. Big, strong hands, punching it away from Witsel.
I think what was great about this French performance today, that any time Belgium came within shooting range, there was always someone there. They might have got shots off, but there was always someone there putting them off, being a nuisance. This ball from Kevin De Bruyne, raking ball, anticipation there again, just for someone maybe missing the ball.
That's what I mean with this last
Throw
piece.
yourself.
Just this last piece was not there. This last piece of determination. Oh, I want to kill it off. Yeah. You know, was even with De Bruyne, he moved around a lot. He worked very hard. But this last piece, just this killer instinct that he usually has, was not there today.
Sometimes in the really big occasion, it doesn't quite happen for you.
No, it didn't. I think we have to give France the credit for that, because they stopped Belgium. We mentioned De Bruyne, we mentioned Hazard, we mentioned Lukaku beforehand, even Fellaini. Well, France had the answer to all of that tonight, and that's why they deserve all the credit.
I think we spoke about before the game as well, Belgium at their most dangerous was when they were counter-attacking. Yeah. And we saw today tactically, as soon as the ball was turned over by France, they retreated back. They didn't allow for the counter-attack, and I think today that was a massive aspect of the game that brought the game home for them.
Sometimes it's easier playing against teams, isn't it, that attack and have good players going forward and have that mentality, rather than playing against teams that just want to sit back.
Yeah, but I mean, when you've got someone like Mbappe, you can afford to come and sit back and wait and say, listen, we'll get out. He's our out ball every time. And he when they got him the ball, we was on the edge of our seats here. We're purring.
Well,
thinking,
we've got
wow.
bags of examples of an unbelievably talented young man.
19 years of age to be playing on this stage without any fear. He was exceptional.
Just right from the kick-off.
Exceptional.
Straight away.
See you later.
Vertonghen, I don't reckon Vertonghen slept last night, because he'd have been thinking about playing. He didn't know he'd playing against Mbappe. And you had to use every little bit of experience not to be exposed and opened up by this kid. But he's not only great running with it, he makes the right decisions often. His decision-making in putting other people through. And we're going to see a bit of skill in a minute that come up. It was just unbelievable.
Switch, swivel, flick, I think it is. I don't think I've seen it before. It was an incredible piece of skill where the ball comes into him in the box, and the little flick in and around to Giroud. Here it is. Look, God. Touch with a.
Oh my God!
What a beauty that is.
That's nasty.
Watch it in slow motion. Here we go. Touch. Flick. Whee!
Is that illegal, Rio, at that age?
Yeah, that shouldn't be allowed on the pitch.
21 should be at least before.
I think he created that on the PlayStation.
So mature his performance as well, though, is that the when to run, when to pass the ball, when to hold on to the ball, touch it. It had a bit of everything tonight, and I think that's the impressive thing about this French team is they've got a bit of magic in it if they want with him. Griezmann also, but they're also streetwise. They've got Pogba, they've got Varane at the back there as well.
What he does as well to the opposition is he creates panic. Being a defender playing against pace creates panic, makes people step off of you, and then creates space for other people around. It's phenomenal. To be 19 years old and taking on that responsibility is huge.
What do you reckon to him? Yeah,
Well,
I mean, we talked about him before the game.
You can show all these clips, you know, with his pace, with his creativity, with his drive, you know, which is fantastic. But what really also made the difference today in that French team is they all defended together. Yeah. The entire team, and Mbappé as well. I mean, he obviously was kind of sniffing around and waiting for a ball and a counter break, but all 10 players, as soon as they lost the ball, got behind the ball and built a block, sometimes 6 in the back and 4 in front, sometimes 5 and 5.
How do you defend against a guy like that?
You look up and you say, please help me. No, you need people around you, need bodies. Yeah. I used to do it sometimes. If I was playing, especially when I got later stages of my career, if I was playing against someone quick, Michael Carrick or someone in front, stop the ball into him. You've got to stop it at source. As soon as the ball gets into these guys, don't let them face you. That's why you've got to be up against them. But if you're going to go tight, then where's your mate covering you as well? There's so many different aspects to it. That's why it makes it so difficult.
And on the flip side, Paul Pogba did that for France.
Well, funny you mentioned Pogba. We saw a kind of different Paul Pogba than perhaps we've seen at Manchester United. Often gets criticised for not putting in the yards going backwards, but we didn't see that aspect.
Yeah, we all know how good he is on the ball, but today his work rate, his defensive discipline, when he wins it, like this ball we saw here, just plays balls that not many people can play or see even. But I just love his intensity, even in his own box there, following the danger man in that box, in Fellaini. He knew where he had to be on the pitch, he knew his job, and his intensity today, which sometimes that's calls into question when he hasn't got the ball, was top drawer. I mean, I love him as a player. When I saw him as a 16-year-old, you couldn't fail but to say this kid's going to be world class. And this tournament, I think he's grown and grown and grown, and we're seeing what we thought.
Why do you think we've not perhaps seen that at Manchester United so frequently?
I don't think the team probably set up for him to benefit. Maybe sometimes I think that he's maybe sometimes being asked to do the other side more than the actual attacking side of the play. I don't know. It's difficult. We're all trying to work that one out. Maybe he just isn't. It doesn't feel comfortable in that environment. There could be so many different layers to it.
I think he plays with a freedom in this French team that if he makes a mistake, all right, it's accepted. Whereas I think when he makes them in the United shirt, he looks as if he's kind of scared to make another one. He doesn't look scared in the shirt.
What I find fascinating on that French side is, you know, we as managers we often talk about the spine, you know, goalkeeper, centre back, you know, midfield, 2 midfielders and the forward. But there seems like a direct connection between Kanté kind of makes the work for Pogba. Pogba connects right away with Mbappé, so you have suddenly this flow in their games. As soon as they win the ball, boom, they go so fast and in the other direction. So that spine works for France.
From my experience, having Kanté on your side is like having 2 players. So it probably gives them a little bit more freedom.
Helps a lot.
Extraordinary.
I think at United sometimes he's been flitted from position and role to role, and the consistency within that hasn't been as fluid as you'd liked.
Varane, the player you've looked at for years, you've always admired. He's unbelievably quick, he's good in the air. It's quite happened for him, he's had a lot of injuries. 4 years ago, of course, he was blamed for France losing against Germany in the quarter-final. Yeah, took a long while to recover, didn't play for them for 2 years.
Injuries has held this kid back. Pace has never been a problem at Ferrari when he gets going. I mean, this kid is anticipation in the box here, done very well there, instinctive defending. This year, I think, has been the first year he's played consistently without any injuries niggling and getting in the way, and you can see the benefits. This guy has stood up today especially. He's kept probably one of the most informed strikers in the world in his pocket today in Lukaku.
I think it had everything. I think what it said to Belgium is if you want to play, I can play. If you want to knock it in behind, I've got the pace to do that also. If you want to knock it long into the box, into Fellaini or Lukaku, no problem also.
Great tackle.
He was a giant at the back tonight, he was.
I love him. He doesn't show much emotion, which I love, that coldness in his game. He just reads things and is happy and excited about defending. Here you see him, arm out, knows where the man is. He done that umpteen times today.
Brilliant.
Now this is where you need your top players to peak in a game like this. And France had their
it's when you find out about
really special players, they peak today. Mbappé, Pogba, Kanté, Varane.
I mean, I'm a bit reticent to start talking about England and flowing forward to a possible
We're going through
final.
it, Gary. We're going through.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you can do that. That's fine. You can carry on saying what you think if you believe England are going through. Therefore, how do you think their chances would be against France?
Listen, I think looking at the tournament so far, the games that we've played, especially in attacking areas of teams we've played against, I haven't seen pace against us yet. No. Every team we've played against has been quite conservative in the way they've played against us. We've forced that as well, but teams have set up to defend against us. But now you're going to get into the final. We've got to beat Croatia, I believe we will, but you've played against France in the final. Now we're on the ball, we're probing. We've got to worry about going back that way, which we haven't actually done.
They're a good team, France, because we saw them against Argentina perform the way they did. And it was a different type of performance tonight. I know that we talk about the skill of Mbappe, but they had to answer different questions tonight, and I thought they answered them all superbly well.
Yeah, they're a very good all-round side, Jürgen.
They are, but as any other team, they're beatable. You know, I mean, I think Belgium started really well the first 20-25 minutes. If Hazard maybe scores one of these chances that he had, and they go 1-0 down, it might be a different outcome.
Croatia first, anyway.
Croatia first.
Let's get carried away.
Anyway, here he comes. This time tomorrow night, we'll know if England have made it through to face France in the final. England manager Gareth Southgate has been speaking to Gabby Logan.